Hello to all my fellow KW stakeholders. It's Aaron Kaufman, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist out of Atlanta, Georgia, bringing you another episode of the My 401 KW interview series, where we dive deep with some of our top profit share earners and stakeholder-minded associates. And this morning is no different. We have the pleasure of talking to one of my good friends, fellow man bunner and OP of one of the most profitable market centers in KW, Mr. Michael Repansky. How are you doing this morning, sir?
If I was any better, Aaron, I'd be you.
All right, brother. Well, let's try to bring some positive mojo to our ecosystem after a very depressing debate last night. No matter what side you're on, but let's bring some positive mojo to our fellow stakeholders this morning. And look, before we get into your mindset around profit share and what you guys are cooking there in Cleveland, let's hear your story, man. Well, who were you before real estate? How did you get into real estate? How did you get to KW? And then talk about, this amazing journey you've been on since you've joined our company.
I'd love to do that. I grew up in Southeast Ohio in a small town called Cambridge. And I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship to attend The Ohio State University.
Oh, wow.
And, while I was there, I joined a fraternity.
Was that a sports scholarship, Michael, or was that
No, it was as far from a sports scholarship as you could possibly be. It was a calculator scholarship that I got for my ability to work the 10 keys.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it was an academic scholarship. Very fortunate in that regard. But I ended up joining a college fraternity, and when I joined, one of the guys who introduced me to the fraternity was a guy named Scott Phillips. So that'll be an important fact later on.
I know the name. Yes, amazing guy.
So 4 years at Ohio State, a very fun and successful career there. Went on to work for my college fraternity for a few years, living in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to the 804. And then I moved back to Ohio to work for Abercrombie & Fitch at their corporate headquarters in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, so you weren't one of the models outside the store with the shirt off? You were actually
say that. I didn't say that I wasn't. I won't say that I was. We will let the audience use their imagination.
Okay, fair enough.
And now we've probably gone to 0 people watching this.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So I started a career in retail and find some success there. Really enjoy it. Love retail as a trade and as an industry. But then, stayed involved with the fraternity, as did this guy, Scott Phillips, who also post-graduation went on to get involved in real estate. I grew up in a small town. There were like 3 realtors. And so and my family had lived in the same farm for 35 years. So the concept of it was just beyond me.
Sure.
And then he's like, I'm top 30 under 30 for the whole country. And I'm like, that's gotta be probably good, I would imagine. Hey, I'm doing this thing with Keller Williams. I think you'd like it a lot. You should check it out. So I end up seeing him about once a year for 10 years. And every time I see him, he's like, you should really look at a career in real estate. You should really consider it. I think you'd be great at it. And finally, you hit a plateau. I hit a plateau in my career, and I wasn't excited about what I was doing anymore. And I was fortunate enough to be in a position in life with no wife, no kids, no plants, no pets, no debt, that I could just say, all right, I'll try it. So I moved from Columbus to Cleveland, and I jump into the deep end of the real estate pool. I got licensed in May of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what's that?
So not too long ago, right? I mean,
not
5 years
too long ago. No, so just celebrated my 5-year anniversary with the company. And so I started in commercial real estate because I didn't know anything about residential, and I'd done some work with leases when I was with Abercrombie. I had a moderate amount of success. It was much more difficult than I expected it to be.
You didn't have a lot of relationships, Michael, right? You moved to a new town, right? I mean, this is starting from 0. Yeah.
Yeah. The only person I knew 2 people in Cleveland. Both of them already had homes, and one of them was the operating principal of a market center. So my opportunities to do things within my sphere weren't there.
Sure.
So I got a hold of our agent roster from our agent resource website, and I just started calling down the roster to agents and saying, hey, here's who I am. here's what I do. Here's how I can help as somebody who, is a commercial agent. And so that led to referrals. So if I closed 6 deals in my first year, it was 6 referrals from 6 agents in the office.
That's amazing. And let me just say something real fast, Michael, on that. One of the things about KW that people should understand is, obviously we're building a commercial division at KW.
Yeah.
That's come a long way over the years. But I think when we talk to people that are considering KW as commercial agents, I mean, the biggest value proposition, I believe, is being a part of a global real estate company of 180,000 residential real estate agents, predominantly, that don't know how to work commercial deals. And if all you did was work the referral network within KW as a commercial agent, I mean, that's worth the price of admission at KW. You agree?
Obviously. Oh yeah. I mean, we've grown our commercial division. I've long since stepped out of production, but and we now, we're doing a decent amount of commercial deals, and it's all coming through referrals and partnerships with our agents. And, the opportunity to not be burdened by it, but also at the same time to be protected by a professional. It's doing a commercial deal is only an experience with only residential experience is no different than a FSBO trying to sell without a realtor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you sold full time. You did 6 deals your first year. Is that what I'm hearing? Commercial deals?
Yeah. Yep. So and that ranged from a $1,000 a month lease of a industrial warehouse space to a $1.7 million bed and breakfast. So. Nice. Yeah, so a little bit of range there, but ultimately in that time, position opened on our leadership team, and I threw my hat in the ring. I am not you go back, whether it's playing sports in high school or being a part of the fraternity or, my time as on cross-functional teams at Abercrombie, I was always on a team. And so for me, that was missing. And the opportunity to be a part of an already amazing leadership team was something I was interested in. And in the year that I had been with the company, or 10 months I'd been with the company before I stepped into the team leader role, I really just learned to love and appreciate how special and unique the culture and community of Keller Williams was. And I was excited about the prospect of helping grow it.
So you jumped right into being there was one team leader position and you took that team leader position, or was it Is that what it was?
Yes, that's accurate. Yep. Wow. I became the team leader. Yep. March 10th of 2020. March 10th of 2020. So 3 days later, we shut down all the offices and had a pandemic.
Right. So, I mean, look, I think, what people need to hear here, I'm thinking of this, this quote I hear from Gary Keller, right? People underestimate where they will be. And what is it?
We overestimate where we'll be in 1 year,
underestimate 5 years, right? So, I mean, you're the embodiment of that. But I mean, 1 year into the business in a new town, as a commercial agent who hasn't, who wasn't blowing the doors off of it, let's say, okay,
far from it, Aaron.
Far from it. You were a cultural driven agent, right? You were immersing yourself in the ecosystem of KW and the culture. This opportunity opens up. Obviously, you have a relationship with Scott Phillips. Did you think that you had a chance to get this position? I mean, I know you're a confident guy, but I mean, you didn't really necessarily have the track record to become the team leader of the office, right? Within 1 year into your real estate career. Talk about sort of your mindset and sort of how that opportunity came to you and how you were able to get it under those circumstances.
I think one thing I've focused on, and I talk to agents about this all the time, like I grew up in an environment where from a professional standpoint and a corporate environment where, I mean, you were at your desk every day from no later than 7:30 a.m. all the way to 7:30 p.m. So like I was in the office every day.
Sure.
And I didn't know anybody, and I certainly didn't know much. And so I tried to meet as many people as possible. I never missed a training, never missed an event, never missed an appointment. If I was working, I was working, in the bullpen. And so that allowed me to build a lot of relationships. So I don't think I was a stranger whenever I took the position, at least not to any other office bodies. But in my backgrounds of, either in corporate, corporate America all the way back through college, like hiring and recruiting has always been, part of my responsibility.
Sure. And that gave you the confidence, even though you
Yeah.
weren't, in real estate, maybe as valid as you would have hoped. Okay. At that point, your background in recruiting and corporate, leadership prepared you for that. So you take over this amazing market center, which at the time I'm assuming was a top profitable market center at KW. You take over in 2020. The pandemic hits, right?
Yep.
Take over from there. What was that experience like for you, man?
I was just having this conversation with an agent last night who had like mistakenly thought I worked for the company for 12 years or something. I was like, no, this is when I started.
Yeah, I love it.
And I say this with all respect and consideration to what the pandemic was and how it impacted people, but I don't think that I would have been as successful in the role if there hadn't have been a pandemic. I immediately walked into an opportunity to call everybody on our roster, from our number one agent to our newest agent, and I had a reason to call them, and I had a very legitimate and sincere question around, how are you doing and how can I help? First sales meetings I had were held like this, so I wasn't in a room with 50 people, eyeballs locked on me. So I was able to, grow into the role as the world was shifting. Like, it was new to everybody, not just me. And so that, but for those circumstances, who knows? Exactly. So, I think I could point to about 1,000 things in my life that I've been very lucky as a result of. And so that's one of them. And then, as we made our way out of that, I had more relationships and, I'd be remiss not to say, and you're going to hear me say this probably another 100 times in the next hour, but just an amazing team. That is such an, I wouldn't say it's understated in our company, but we point to the team leader or the operating principal a lot. And I just want to point right back to all the people that, have worked as a part of the leadership team over the last, 4 years that I've been involved with it. They're just incredible people that are in culture and committed to helping agents achieve. And, short of that, again, I don't know if I'm having a conversation with you about profitability and how it impacts people's lives.
Well, I mean, look, the greatest shift of wealth and opportunity are in down cycles, not up cycles. And whether it's a pandemic or a shift, these are the opportunities, whether you're in leadership, whether you're an agent, that if you lean in, right, and you do the hard work, it's moments like that you build the strongest relationships, not just with your agents, but if you're an agent, that's when you build clients for life, right? Is during moments like that. And so as we came out of that, and obviously we had a good year, obviously as an industry during the pandemic. But when you kind of started to come out of that, obviously you were a much different person than you were when you started, right? Talk about how it was like, what it was like getting back into the office. Because, even today, Michael, I travel all around KW teaching. Yeah. Even today, some of our market centers have a real challenge of getting agents back into the office, right? Because after the pandemic, some people just stopped coming in or they didn't want it anymore. And so what was that mindset and how did you get people to come back into the office? Because look, at KW, our culture is everything. Okay. And you can have a cultural experience virtually at KW, but it's not the same, right? So how did you guys get people back into the office and kind of get things back to where it was prior?
I'd be lying if I said that we were back to where it was prior. I don't know that we are. We're close, right? Sure. But and it's like I'm less concerned about getting back to and figuring out where do we need to be. Sure.
Sure. I mean, more back to No, I love that. But
understand.
That's right. That's our challenge.
I just think that there's a conversation. We can get sucked into a conversation and, it exists everywhere. And I mean, take whatever last night was, right? People want to get back to a time where that's not what it is. We want to go back to a time where this is a way, or, oh, I want to go back when, you know, they weren't hockey teams in Florida. Why are there hockey teams in Florida? Right. Like, you know, it's like, okay, but like, where do we want to go to?
Exactly. That's a great point, Michael. Great point.
And I think, you know, what we learned was
the new normal.
Yeah, I think that we have to, there's two things. One, things won't change until they have to. And we're on the front end of things requiring changes in behavior.
Yeah.
We are in a pervasive and protracted, difficult market, whether it's inventory or interest rates or whatever excuse you want to use. We're about 2 years into the same market that we've had.
Yeah.
And that is just about long enough for people to realize, if I do what I've always done, I am no longer going to get what I've always got. And there is a direct correlation between coming into the office and succeeding in any job in the world, especially real estate.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that is time on task over time, because it doesn't count as lead gen if you're folding laundry while you're doing it. Because you got to be taking notes and you got to be engaged and you have to be present and all those other things. And so we're not yet to the point where people need to change their behavior dramatically to change their results in any way, shape, or form. So when we get there, like, the most important thing I would say is we have to be ready for them, right? De-risking your P&L by not having people in the office or working, you know, our whole crew works from home. Like, those things are dangerous, because when someone shows up and wants help or wants to, you know, kibitz over a cup of coffee, like, we've got to be there, and then they'll come back. I call it the campfire analogy, right? Like, if we're all sitting around a campfire and you wander off into the woods for however long, if we don't keep that campfire going, if we pack up and douse it and stir it, you know, as Smokey the Bear would teach us to do, and you come back and no one's there, you're going to walk away from that campfire forever. You are never going to check a second time to see if we've come back to the campfire. But if the fire's still going and nobody else is there, but the fire's still going, you'll sit down and wait for other people to show up.
I love that analogy.
And that's the way we have to think about our spaces. Is that, you know, right now, if you build it, they might not come. But if they come, they'll stay.
Yeah. And look, you know, we know, Michael, that there's a lot of new flashy objects in the industry, right? That were poised perfectly for the pandemic, right? I mean, virtual companies, right? They were poised perfectly. But we are seeing now, are we not, as a company, as a market center, now that we're, you know, years past the pandemic, that we are starting to see people coming back from those type of companies, because this is what they want. They want community. They want culture. They want to be surrounded by like-minded people and people that are doing more business than them, so that they can, you know, be buoyed by that in-person experience. So I love how you're saying it, because, you know, some market centers, you know, it's basically a breakdown of, you know, are you having an abundant mindset or a scarcity mindset? You can cut costs and you can tread water for a little bit, but where are you going to be in 5 years? You know, sometimes you got to lean in and keep that fire burning, even though you might be burning money along with that fire. Eventually, the attraction and the community that forms around that fire is what propels you in moments like this, right? Where
you can take that show on the road. We had a conversation probably 3 years ago about the path of the customer, right? Which the path of the customer, our customer, is our agents. And it's like, hey, they're not coming into the office. And it's like, great, let's start doing events outside the office. Let's hold fewer trainings and make them bigger. Right?
Exactly.
And then if the once a month thing that happens outside the office is big, how does your once a year thing that was outside of the office and big get even bigger?
Exactly. I mean, there's something to be said about consistency, showing up, right? And, you know, being that anchor, right, for agents in a market that is kind of, you know, a little bit wild and crazy, to know that, you know, hey, that my leadership team in my market center is showing up every day. So you were a team leader for a couple of years, and you know, people need to understand Cleveland has been a top 3 market center in our entire company and profit share I don't know, what, 5, 6, 7 years. Okay. I mean, you guys have been,
yeah, I mean,
maybe
I
the
think
last 3 years you've gotten up into the top 3, right?
yeah, last 3, I think 2020 was like number 11, 2021 was number 4, then number 1, last year number 3.
Yeah. So talk about, because look, we're in a very interesting time when it comes to profit share, right? Not only is the industry, the market what it is, right? We've made some changes around profit share. There's some different mindsets around profit share about whether or not profit share, is a rock of our foundation, like it was for the first 40 years. Talk about how you see profit share as a leader, okay, and how you see it as a driver of growth and culture, and what are you doing to get agents, excited about it, because you guys are crushing it in a down market when a lot of our market centers are not as are having a tough time with profitability. What is the I know I'm assuming when I say what's the secret sauce, I mean, one is showing up, being consistent, pouring into your agents, but how do you incorporate the profit share concept and the mindset into your agents on and get them excited about growing the office and participating in profit share?
Yeah, I think the one thing is, one key thing is we don't, or I always refer to profit share as a reward for helping us grow the company.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that can turn into passive wealth, and it can turn into, or passive income. It could turn into opportunities to, be on this show, right? And things of that nature. But at the end of the day,
right?
Yeah, right. At the end of the day, it's a reward for helping us grow the company with the right people. And so I think we start first and foremost, like when we think about who we are as a company, it's just, I mean, your culture is 2 things: who you are and what you do. The what we do is our mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspective, and purpose. Who we are is our agents.
Yeah.
And so we want our agents to like each other and to be excited to see each other. And so what better way to do that than to get the people you already like and are already excited to see into the office with you?
Yeah.
And
totally.
I think, I guess, what was it? It's about 70, last year was 76% of people that joined the company named an agent at our office as their sponsor. It doesn't include leadership, and that doesn't include anybody who named, their brother that they lived in Atlanta, right? I mean, those are agents in Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan, and Cleveland, Ohio. And so that is that's the most powerful thing to me, is that people, and that's a good, it's a lagging indicator, but it's an important one. Where people feel like, is this a company that they want to refer friends, family members, former colleagues, and co-brokes to? And if the answer is yes, it is. It is.
Go ahead. No, I would say, look, I personally believe there's no metric to evaluating a market center's strength and culture than the percentage of KW of their agents participating in profit share. I mean, to me, that shows me that the agents are having a high level experience at KW in your office, and they feel compelled to want to share it with people that they respect. And, I hear people around this company talking about how maybe they're not getting their investment back from profit share, right? Where owners are giving back almost half their profits, but some of them feel like they're not getting their investment back because a lot of that money is going outside of their market center, right? Whether it be to agents that left their office, or whether it be from people outside of their office trying to grow it. So to have 76% of your new agents last year pick somebody
last year,
yeah. I mean, to me, that's huge, man, because not only is that an indicator of how much your agents love your office, that's like doubling down now. Now they're vested financially in the success of your office and their fellow stakeholders. And that takes this to the next level, right? Because it's not just about, hey, I'm I'm getting rewarded to grow my office. Now I'm a stakeholder. Now I'm financially vested in the success of this office and my fellow agents. And I'm guessing you're starting to see that momentum really start to build. I mean, you guys had a profit share factor last month of over 0.4, right? And you and I were talking about this, Michael, and I love your mindset around it, because that ain't enough for you, right? Like, I know you have some real visions for how big you want that to be, but talk about what a 40% profit share factor means, because you said it in a way that I loved, which was, of every dollar, right, that your agents pay into the market center, 40 cents of the dollar goes back to profit share. I mean, that to me is just amazing. You don't see 40% profit share factors in KW, especially in a shifting market. So what does that mean to you? Because I know you're plugged into profit share factors like I am. You're a profit share enthusiast like me. I mean, talk about what that meant to you, because when you saw that number and in this moment, what does that mean to you, man?
Yeah, I mean, we had a very good May. So, so that's the first thing that it meant.
Sure.
And, it meant that we were upholding our end of the bargain.
Exactly.
I think that's important. I say all the time, I drink from wells that I didn't dig. This company in Northeast Ohio is 22 years old. And, the people who founded the company, the people who grew the company, the people who are still growing the company that were here before I was here and hell, may be here after I'm gone. It's for them. I mean, my participation in profit share is pretty low. I mean, quite honestly, because like by the time I meet somebody great, they probably got referred to me by one of our outstanding agents, right? I would rather have it be 100% of the people that join the company. I'd rather never be named in profit share. And I think that there is, but what that means is we're on our way to where we want to go. Which is the first threshold is, get a month, a real month above a 4. Yeah. Then get, the year above a 4, and then get get a month at 5, and then get a year above 5. And I think that you can actually, it's hard, but you can, the path is in the math. You could actually, and the big, hairy, audacious goal is to get to the point where 100% of company dollar contributed by an agent flows through the P&L and out to profit share.
Right. So everybody who's listening, Michael's goal in his dreams is that out of every dollar, $1 will be given back in profit share, right? Which is insane. And Michael, I want to dig deep into this, because people understand what the profit share factor is really what it's all about, man. Because you have market centers that are very profitable, but their profit share factors are low, right? Because they have 800 agents, and they're not, they're not running the market center with the same kind of mindset of, hey, our goal is to give back as much profit share money as we possibly can. And so the profit share factor is so critical because you can have an office with 200 agents, 150 agents, that has a much higher profit share factor than a market center with 800 agents. And that number is the multiplier, right? For people that, because, you and I both know 80% and 90% of people in our company don't even know what we're talking about. But the point is, Michael, that it's the multiplier. When an agent in your downline who closes a deal and contributes to the profitability of their market center, that profit share factor number dictates how big your profit share check is. And the bigger that number is, the bigger your profit share check is. So what's the mindset now you're the OP, am I correct, of that market center? Right.
That's accurate.
So as the OP who represents the owners and the investors of this market center, who have to be also on board with this idea. Okay. I mean, I'm sure they would love to hear the idea of giving back 100% of your money to the agents, but talk about the mindset from Scott, the owners, how you guys are intentional about the profit share factor, because the fact is that's what makes the check so big out of Cleveland, right? Why is that?
I think Yeah, I think you've nailed it, Aaron. Like the importance of the profit share factor is like that's how it impacts the individual, right? To have a to profit share over $1 million, which we've done for the last 3 years, and are on pace to do again this year. Knock on wood.
In a shifting market, right? In a shifting market, right? Which is unbelievable. Yeah.
It's how it impacts the individual. So if you've got one person in your downline and they close one deal, that number 1 million doesn't mean anything to you. It's cool, but it's like, who's getting it? Because all I'm getting is what? And it's like that one deal, that profit share factor makes that one deal mean more.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is when you think about what you hear our best agents, our top agents, the people with 5-star reviews from here to the moon, they talk about their ability to impact their clients, right? You talk to the people who are running the largest real estate companies inside of our company, and they're going to talk to you about core values centered around the consumer or the client. And the profit share factor is a great way to measure whether or not we are delivering at the highest level to our consumers and clients, which are agents participating in profit share inside of our company.
Exactly. And, the analogy I'll make, Michael, is a mega agent who does $100 million in production a year, but is not making any money. Right. I mean, like,
do those exist?
What's more important to you? What's more important to you? The profit share of your office or the return on investment that your agents who are growing it are getting. And, I mean, look, dude, your cap there in Cleveland, I don't know if you have different caps, but what's about 20-ish or so,
18,
or 18,
18.
Right. I mean, my guess is if I'm an agent in your office and I have somebody who caps in this last month, like literally does, let's say, what, 2.25 million, in sales, whatever.
We have multiple people do.
Right. Or they did a commercial deal. Okay. I mean, with a 0.4 profit share factor, my guess is that's over $3,000 to that.
It's 3,600. It's plus or minus a few bucks. It's 3,600. So it's it's nearly a quarter cap.
Yeah. Right. But that's where the rubber hits the road, Michael. Right. Like my downline is in 300 kW offices. Right. Every month I get my profit share statement and I'm like, oh man, if this agent was in Cleveland last month, I would have made 1,000 times more money, right, than this agent that's in this office with a 0.0001 profit share factor. So, so now it's like momentum for you guys, right? I mean, it started with delivering on value and showing up and all that great stuff. But now, right, like now the energy and the excitement around profit share has got to be you guys have just got to be just floating around that office. I mean, agents have to be so excited about bringing people to that office, not just for the profit share money, but knowing that, hey, I'm getting somebody to an office where they're delivering on the value of KW.
Yeah, I think that an important thing is, forever in our world is 18 months at best.
Yeah.
We have a very fast refresh rate, the turnover in the industry, the turnover in your population. So, yes, we focused a lot on delivering value and putting energy into the system, and we will never stop doing that. We cannot stop doing that. Success makes success more likely, but it does not beget more success. There isn't anybody that says, yep, I figured it out one time, and then that mousetrap worked for the rest of my life. And so, when you find success, and as we've been able to, been very fortunate to, then it's like, okay, how do we as MAPS coach Rich Rector would always say, how do we plus that up? How do we plus? Hey, this was great. How do we make it better? Because if things are just as good as they were last year, next year, then they're worse in the eyes of the consumer.
Exactly. Well, I love you say that because it's about expectations, right? I mean, one of the exciting things about having a market center right now that's not profitable is that no one's expecting you to be profitable. So when you start to get back on that path of profitability, right, you can really take that energy and compound it and grow that. But, the other side of it is when you're as profitable as you are, okay, now the bar is set high, right? So going into next year, right? Like, I mean, there's a bar now, right? Like you have to exceed that every year to continue that energy, right? And I think I love that about you, man, is that you're not complacent with your success, nor is Scott. And I mean, you guys are literally, you know, a beacon for the other 835 market centers in KW who, you know, need to understand the potential of the KW model when we deliver on it. Right.
Well, I'm the one on the call, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you sit in our investor partner meetings. There's 13 other people in the room. Like, it's critical thinking. It's, you know, how do we do this better? Hey, are we missing that? Like, our whole conversation last month was around that, or getting our ALC, and, you know, there's people coming up with ideas on how to not do more as a market center, but how do we solve problems for our agents in a way that is repeatable and scalable? And like, that's a conversation that doesn't happen in Fortune 500 boardrooms, let alone in real estate offices where you could conceivably consider everybody around the table a competitor. So like the push, I'm telling you, I am not pulling our office. I am being pushed by it. And that is the great thing about culture, is how do you deliver value at a level that, you know, half of the top 100 agents a large portion of the top number of top agents in Northeast Ohio belong to the brand. Like, you know, it's like, you know, they're market makers in and of themselves. Yeah. So how do you keep growing the world big enough to stay in business with them? And the same goes for all of the amazing people that are a part of our leadership team. You know, the tenure of our staff, and that leadership team is compelling. We have multiple people over 5 years in their roles with the company, and it's very impactful, because, you know, when you show up, if you haven't been to the office in 3 years, and you show up and you see familiar faces, like, again, game over. You're coming back.
Exactly. And what percentage of your agents you think are going to be cappers this year?
Let's see. Where's my?
You give me an estimate. 20
no,
to 30.
I'd rather.
Yeah, you got the numbers.
We've got you know, in terms of we roll in team agents, right? Reduce caps and things of that nature. Sure. We're about 170 of our 430 agents are cappers.
Okay. Yeah. The reason I asked that, Michael, is that what would happen to your market center if you turn your non-cappers into cappers, right? I mean, and dude, that's how you get to 0.5, right? I mean, when you can rate.
Listen, here's the great thing, right? There are 3 ways. Like we teach a class around profit share about the 3 ways that you can grow your profit share. One is somebody names you as their sponsor.
Yep.
Great. Like, now you have somebody in your profit share, and then the second way is help that person produce. Now, it's not an expectation, and it is not who we are as a company. It's our job as leadership to do it. And yet, if you made $3,600 for an agent capping, does the idea of investing $800 to send that person to Bold seem like, if they paid you $3,600 just in the first year, right? That's a 4.5x return, right? Exactly. Just between the 4 and 5 standard for ROI. That feels like a really good thing to do. So step 2 is
1 year return. That's a 1 year's return. Not to mention who they might become, who they might attract, how many years they'll be at KW. I mean, how can you ever quantify the return on investment? Yeah,
exactly what you did, right? Is help them get people in their downline.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things. Add them yourself, get them into production, or help them grow. And so,
there's a fourth way. There's a fourth way, Michael, to make more profit share.
What's that?
There's a fourth way to make more profit share, which is to help agents that are not in your downline, in your market center, get into production. Because guess what? the more profitable your market center is, right? So we have to remember, that's kind of the point I was trying to get to, Michael, which is,
yeah, that's brilliant.
Dude, look, we all understand that you are vested more financially in the people that you bring into KW and that are in your profit share tree. But the fact is, you're also vested in the success of every agent in your downlines market centers too, right? And what makes us different, Michael, what makes us different, the reason we took over this one of the main reasons we took over this entire industry is that our culture, which is our secret weapon in an industry that's always been independent, starts with profit share, right? And what I worry about, and you and I talk about this, a lot, is that I'm worried that connection between profit share and culture is being lost or being forgotten in KW. We have to remember that this is what makes us so uniquely different, and especially when it comes to rev share companies. Let's get real. I mean, not only is it not passive, you're only vested in the success of the people in your downline. But when we can get agents in KW to understand that, hey, if I can turn a non-capper into a capper in my market center, even if they're not in my downline, I'm going to get a return on investment from that. Because first of all, who knows who that person's going to become? My guess is they're going to become a raving fan for this company you're a stakeholder in. And who can, so that's what we're trying to create here. And I know that you're fostering that mindset in your market center. You want to talk a little bit about, about that and sort of creating this community of stakeholders? Because look, you brought me out to Cleveland multiple times. Scott has as well. I'm coming out there.
You're coming up.
I'm coming up in July, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about that event. But you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, is that a conversation that you guys are talking about, within your leadership team or within your, sales meetings? I mean, is that, creating this kind of community of stakeholders? Is that something you guys talk about a lot?
It's something that, listen, you can never talk about it enough, right?
Yeah.
And if I told you we talked about it a lot, I'd be lying. So I won't.
Right.
I think
you can bring me in and talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I don't think we've gone more than 18 months without having you here. And that's not even enough.
I agree.
I think that, we try a lot of different things. Like we're always trying to do something to connect or to highlight or to create the aha for our agents. And I think it comes down to, show, don't tell. And so, we used to have a segment on sales meetings called Caught You Winning. And it was just where, agents could nominate agents for something that they did that was great. Or like we'll highlight amongst our leadership team whenever we get feedback that, somebody on the team did something that was really amazing or helpful. And then that goes out. And so I think that, real estate, it's funny. I sat through your session multiple times. I always buy a ticket for the full seat, but I only need the edge every time. And when we talk about this is a dog, historically a dog eat dog industry and independent and, viewing co-brokes as competitors. And I look at it and it's amazing because it's I made the reference to growing up team sports. Real estate's a team sport.
Yeah.
Real estate is a team sport, and that's our leadership team. That's our ALC. That's our investor partners. And that's all 431 agents in our office. That's the team. And I hate whenever there's a good play that I don't know about because I don't get to celebrate it. And we should be, if all we did was celebrate each other more and catch each other winning more. I think that's how you build culture. And I think that's how my goal would be that everyone act like a stakeholder before they realize that's what they are. I think that's really strong culture.
I love it's an organic thing, right? It's not something you necessarily need to talk about. Like you said, you got to show them, you got to help them sell houses. You got to, get them back in the office. You got to pour into them. And as a result of having that mindset, people's lives are bigger. They love the community that you're building there. They feel compelled to want to share it. I still want to pound that message down their throat when I come out there. Which as
an outsider and an authority, you're the right person to do it, right?
Exactly.
But I think that whenever we aren't coming from contribution or we're not, we're telling instead of showing as people that are in the local intimate environment, we run the risk of making it appear like a zero-sum game.
Sure.
Like, hey, if you give, you will get, or when you give, you will get, or there's the pie's only so big. It's the opposite of an abundance mindset.
That's great.
You know, there are so many amazing people in this company, and what is exciting is that there are still amazing people outside of this company.
Sure, no doubt.
Yeah,
and I keep thinking of a saying I heard recently. I don't know who to attribute to, but what they say,
Mark Twain is who I attribute them all to. I always give them to Mark Twain.
Why not? That's one of my, I'm a big Mark Twain guy.
Yeah.
But no, they say collaboration happens at the top, competition happens at the bottom, right? And in the real estate industry, that has always been, an independent, dependent type business, to be a part of this interdependent company, right? I think, to me, that's our greatest value proposition, is that agents here actually have an incentive to help each other. They have an incentive financially to care about each other. And the reason I love, Michael, the fact that you don't have to really talk about it, because it's a feeling, right? Your agents are having a high level experience, but you and I both know not everybody's having the same experience at KW. Not every KW office has the same mindset that you guys have. And so the reason that I try to connect the dots, between culture and profit share, is that we're now on the third generation of Keller Williams, man. And there are a lot of people in KW, owners, leaders, agents, that don't know that connection. And so, we're a tribe, man. If we don't tell our stories and connect the dots for our people, I don't think we are realizing the true potential of KW. And so I love the fact that, look, you can build a huge market center and be very profitable by just showing up and providing value. But when you can get people to understand why it's unique and why we're different, and then more importantly, Michael, they can communicate that why to somebody that they're trying to attract to KW, to me, that's when it goes 10x, right? Is that, and so the challenge that a lot of our market centers have is that, I don't know, 25, 30% of them are not even profitable right now, year to date. And so how do you create, what would you tell a market center, a leadership team of a market center that's a turnaround market center, hasn't been profitable for a while, agents are not coming into the office? You've already kind of answered this by just talking about how you guys do your day-to-day stuff, but if you wanted someone, if you were talking to an owner of a market center or a team leader of a market center that's not profitable, what would you say to them to accelerate that, so that they can really start to see a change in the culture and the profitability and the mindset of the market center?
When you when you're in a situation like that, it can feel like you're beset on all sides by challenges. The old Chesty Puller was a famous Marine, and when they told him he was surrounded by the enemy, he said, "Great, I can shoot in any direction and still hit the bad guys." But you can feel that way, like, oh my God, nothing's right. And then it feels like, well, as long as I got to fix something, right?
Pick something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, taking a beat to really stack things up and think about, like, all right, what is upstream and downstream of each other respectively? And, I don't, I've been in that situation. I am, but I've been in situations like it before outside this company.
Yeah.
And I think it's, Jim Collins would say, get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seat. And so make sure you've got the right team around you. I can't say that enough. If I've had any success in my life, it's been mostly luck and falling in with the right crowd. Sure. And so that would be step one. Step two is do the hand-to-hands. I think I probably immensely annoy most of the people that work with me, because I always want more information. And so we used to get a report at the end of the week that said where company dollar was. And then I said, well, can we get it every day? And then I said, well, can we also add how many checks were cashed each day? And it's like, okay, can I actually see every property that closed every day? Wow. And then I pick up the phone and I call people who had closings. Maybe not every closing, maybe not every time, because some people have a closing every day. But if I see a big one, right? Or if I see a name that I haven't seen in a while, And then while I've got them on the phone or I've got them on a text thread, just invite them into the office. Hey, we'd love to see you. Hey, come by. Hey, don't miss out on summer masterminds. Right. And then I think that is something that, if you have closings every day, you can talk to agents every day. And then if you're talking to agents every day, invite them to something, even if it's just to come in, have a cup of coffee and catch up. And then
kind of sounds like how we train our agents, Michael, right? Be more human more often, right? I mean, build relationships, show up, care.
Yep. Because when somebody needs help, you want them to call you.
Yeah.
And listen, that is I'll say one quick thing about growth. Like this one company has more training, education, resources. We've got you, right? We've got a lot of things that can help somebody attract the right people to the right experience. But everything I ever needed to know about recruiting, I learned at 18 years old in my college fraternity. And it's 6 very simple steps. You make a list of the people that you want to be in business with. Number 2, you introduce yourself to them. Number 3, you make them your friend. Number 4, introduce them to your friends. 5, when we were in college, it was introduce them to the fraternity. Now it's introduce them to KW. Number 6, ask them to join.
Yeah.
What someone excited, like there's nobody more dangerous than an excited neophyte, right? Which would say like, hey, I made this list of people and I'm going to ask them all to join. And it's like, okay, like, there's a lot of real estate companies out there that do that. And, you're going to get what you're going to get. But if we really think about like, one, you want to develop a relationship with somebody and you want that relationship to be on terms beyond business. So make them your friend.
Sure.
Then you want to introduce them to your other friends, right? And those other friends are probably going to be in KW, just like my friends when I was in the fraternity were in the fraternity.
And by the way, we know, and let me add to that, I think, we always, because, like a lot of people listening to this call maybe are not top agents, right? Okay. Or maybe they don't feel valid or whatever it might be, right?
Neither was I.
No, I know. That's the point, right? But when you say introduce them to friends, to me, what I hear is get them to MegaCamp, get them to summer masterminds, expose them to somebody that's your friend that has a bigger life, does more business than them, who's willing to share with them how they do it. And whether it's that, an MREA book, a shift book, right? How many resources do we have to expose people to our community of people that are willing to share?
You're stealing my punchline.
Okay. All right, go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
Step 5 is introduce them to KW. Step 6 is ask them to join. Well, if they say no, you know what the great thing about KW is? You get to introduce them to KW with something else. Hey, I saw that you're investing. Do you want to be a part of our investor community? Have you heard about KW Wealth? Hey, I understand that you're looking to grow a team. Did you know that we have more teams than most, brokerages have people? And there is, we did an exercise with our leadership team and our investor partners, and we looked at what is everything that we offer from culture, training, support, technology, and lead generation. And from there, it was everybody sat around and it was just like, holy cow, there is so much. Yeah. And the key for anybody out there that's focused on growing their downline, for anybody out there that, wants to have an Aaron Kaufman sized life and wants to do it through growth, do those 6 steps. And then as soon as somebody gets to number 6 and the answer is no, go back to number 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Introduce them to more of your friends or introduce them to another part of KW. It took 10 years from 2009 to 2019 for me to get to this company. When Scott started recruiting me into real estate, I think he was working for a competitor, right? Yeah. And then as soon as he got here, he was like, no, this is it. Yeah. And I think the idea of that is like, we all heard the stories. I mean, how long did Gary recruit Tony DeCello or whomever it was? 35 years he was trying to get him to join the company, and like most people that you ask to join will say no, and that's okay. I hear no as in a minute, but not yet.
Yep.
At least that's how I approach it in my dating life.
Sure. Well, and look, one of the things that we need to talk about, Michael, is that, and I love how you talked, that those steps are brilliant that you were sharing. And those come from your fraternity days, right? Those are literally kind of I love how that's, I love that. But one of the things that I always say is, become their friend, right? Become someone they respect. And, wait for their real estate company to screw it up or wait for their why to change, right? I mean, I think that's what people need to understand is that in the moment, they might not be ready to receive. But if they view you as a friend, as somebody that is trying to help them, is always coming from contribution and always offering opportunities, their why might change, or their real estate company might do something really stupid. And maybe that conversation you had with them a year ago is going to go a lot differently, because their why has changed. And if all you did was stay in relationships with them and come from contribution, I don't know, my guess is when their pain levels, reach us, are different, that they're going to probably look to somebody who's been out there holding out an olive branch for them, for a long time. So
here's the thing I always say is that I'm interested in long-term relationships with long-term people. And our relationship doesn't start when you join the company. It starts when we meet. Right. And so, if I get 100 calls a week, 20 of them are from people outside the company that want to pick my brain, or what do you think about this? Or what do you get? Hell, it's other brokers sometimes. And that's fine. That's fine, because it's a team sport. But it's also, like, as a brokerage, it's also a team sport as an industry.
No doubt.
Like the brokerage wars, wholly uninterested in.
Yeah.
Wholly uninterested in talking about why this is better than that. I'm here to help people. And this is the best way in my life that I've found to help the most number of people, is being a part of Keller Williams.
I love that. And there's a great saying, people leave KW people leave KW for the same reason they join, right? So if, when you're coming from contribution and you're being that person, right, and you're building those relationships, it doesn't end, right, once they join KW, because then now you got to deliver on that, continue to deliver on that, because if you stop delivering on that, they're going to leave. Or on vice versa, if you make price your value proposition, there's always going to be a better price offer coming down the chute. And that's what I love. I probably like the broker wars a little bit more than you do, but I kind of get a kick out of watching some of these companies cannibalize each other, because, we attract market share. Some of our competition is buying it, and there's always, that money's not going to last forever. And there's always going to be another company that comes along with another price offer. And I think that's what I love about KW, is that if we just do us, which, by the way, takes a village, as you know, but if we can just deliver on our value and attract people that value what we value, we shouldn't lose a lot of agents that value what we value, as long as we're delivering on it. And that's the great thing about KW. We don't have to be in business with everybody, Michael, right?
Yeah. A lesson from my retail days is that value is defined as the point where price and quality meet. Yeah. Right. And so like there are plenty of offices that are less expensive, but much, much lower value. Right. And so the key is to provide high value. You want to have your quality of the experience far outkick the price that it costs, right? Exactly. Like if you like a Lamborghini for $100,000 is a steal because it's worth 250. So like, okay, let's just be the Lamborghini. That's $100,000.
I'm going to guess you didn't cut your caps during the shift, huh?
We did not. No, we did not. I'll tell you, we had a lot of conversations about it. We had a lot of conversations about adjusting our splits too. And ultimately, the conversation that happened amongst our leadership team was, here's the economic impact. And that's not why you make a decision, right? You don't say like, oh, it cost us too much money, we shouldn't do it. We looked at it and we said, okay, if it was, $100,000, $200,000, whatever it was, would we rather shift that and lose that through revenue reduction, or have the same impact by increasing our expenses by $200,000?
Exactly.
It's like, do you want to? Yeah, and fortunately, we were in a situation, in a relationship with our agents that allowed us to do those things and see the impact. And I understand for somebody out there who feels like, the world's slipping through their fingers and they can't make the everything they try doesn't stick. And it's like, well, I'm going to go be this. And that's fine. That's just going to be your new revenue model, but it doesn't get to, you can't correspond an expense model with it. That's probably a loser every time.
Well, and my guess is this summer masterminds event you're doing, that ain't going to be a cheap event. Okay. Right.
No, it is not.
It's not a cheap event. Right. So,
No,
so you got people like Sarah Reynolds coming, you got people like me, and you got all kinds of other people coming. But this is just for your office, is it not? Is it just?
This is actually, it started as an event that was just in our office. And then in its second year, we invited some agents from another office. And then last year we said, hey, Keller Williams is the largest brand in our MLS. It's the number one company in our market. What if we all got together and did something really splashy? So we tried it. And last year we had 300 agents from 7 different offices for a half-day event that was keynoted by KW real estate planners, community leader Dan Ahara.
He's amazing.
I mean, like, you could get an MBA listening to that guy for 20 minutes. And we had an absolute ball of a time.
And you had guests there, I would imagine, too. You invited
there
guests.
There were a few non-KW folks there.
Right.
And it's the biggest KW event that the area has ever had. And so this year we had to change venues because we're targeting a 65% increase in attendance.
Nice.
And we're doubling down. Instead of having it be a big regional event, we want it to feel like a mini mega camp.
I love that.
So, the one aha we took from Family Reunion this year was that breakouts aren't all panels. Sometimes you have features like Aaron Kaufman, or we're going to have Tony Giordano, or KW Wealth. KW Wealth is one of our sponsors. So two prominent KW Wealth individuals are going to run a KW Wealth session in the 50-minute breakout. And the price of a ticket's $39. You know what I mean? And so
Gabby coming,
Gabby and Kobe, and then Sarah, the number one team in Keller Williams, is gonna be our keynote. And we've got, we had a panel last year. It had Amanda Pullman, Ryan Young, Mike Zinicola, and Jose Medina on it. And it was moderated. I forget who the moderator was. Jose might have actually been the moderator. So I'm leaving. Ed Huck. So between those 5 people, there was over $1 billion of production on the panel, like all in our market. Right. And so it's such a massive experience. And it's a great example of a cross market center culture where, we don't view each other as competitors. We want to see each other win. And we're much, much stronger together than any other variety. And so, it's July 16th. In Cleveland, Ohio. All are welcome. There, you'll be there. We have one of your guests from, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Brian Kemp, who just crested $1 million lifetime.
Love that guy.
Brian runs an office in Columbus, and so he and I have gotten to know each other through this opportunity. He's chartered a bus and is bringing 55 agents from his office 2 hours up the road. And so, where this goes, I don't know, but I know that it wouldn't be possible again without an incredible leadership team and a leadership team, an ALC, and an investor group that are locked in on bigger, faster, stronger, better, more, and all while protecting who we are and the integrity of our culture.
I love that. And look, I know we're at the end here, Michael. A couple things I wanted to say. One is, I love the fact that you're area works together, right? Like one of the things that always blows my mind is when I roll into a city that has 10 KW offices and 9 of them don't even know I'm there, right? Like to me, that's something that we're not taking advantage of a lot around the company, is that we should be an interdependent company within with our offices too. I mean, that gives us even more power and strength, right? To be able to pull that. The second thing I want to say is, I don't know how much this event's going to cost you, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to get a pretty decent return on investment, not only from the production that your agents will do, the more production they'll do from being around these amazing people, but the wealth building, the profit share building, the guests that they're brought that end up joining KW. I mean, my guess is the multiplier off of this investment will be 10, 20 times what you guys invested in. And that goes back to what you were saying before. You had a decision to make. Do you cut your cap, or do you double down and invest the money you would have saved back into your agents? I think it's pretty obvious which path is leading to more profits, right? Is having that abundant mindset, investing back in the agents. And, so man, listen, I can't thank you enough for taking an hour of your time talking to me. You and I have had a great relationship over the years. I love seeing what is happening in Cleveland. I can't wait to be there because, man, when I teach to a market center that is as profitable as yours, the energy is so much better, and I have that, star next to that class because I need my cup filled too, brother, and when I'm in a room of people that are having a high level experience at KW and an extremely profitable market center, that fills my cup, dude. And so thanks for being a beacon, man, for our company. Keep doing what you're doing. And you want to give any parting shots to anybody that is, the 2 people that are on this thing live and the people that'll watch it, on YouTube and social media. What's a parting shot to somebody that comes to you and says, Michael, I want to get purposeful about profit share. What do I need to do, man? Tell me what I need to do to grow my profit share. What's your parting shots for those people?
My parting shot for them would be to really experience the culture by being present and having relationships with people in the office. When I think about what modicum of success that I have had, it's come through other people. And I have told Jake Lozier or Eddie Golden or Lance Della Rocca's story because I knew it, because I hung out with them, because I built a relationship with them when I was just looking for ways to fill up the day as a failing commercial agent. Right. And so but it's because it's becoming aware of it, having insights about it, taking action to participate in it. Yeah. Those 3 things will then put you in a place where you can speak with a inflection and a texture that is real. Yeah. Yes. There's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, that's, I start my class off with a question. How important is it for you to believe in what you're selling? Okay. Yeah. And the fact is, if you don't walk the walk, right? If you don't show up, if you're not a culture driven agent, if you don't participate in training, if you don't come from contribution, I'm not sure you can have an authentic conversation with somebody about why they need to be a KW. So, dude, you rock. Keep rocking that man bun. We're holding it down. I know it's not as cool as it used to be, but when people like you and me are rocking it, we're keeping it high up on the.
That's right. That's right. We're breathing life back into the system.
We are.
It's okay.
We are.
The flywheel will spin eventually.
Exactly. Hey, thanks.
All right,
again,
my friend. This has been amazing.
All right,
you're
buddy.
the man.
You
Take
too,
care.
Brother.